What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the amazing sounds of the Soccer Comic Rant podcast, where 2 weeks in a row, my Focusrite equipment is working and the sound is going to be immaculate. So you're welcome from me, Focusrite, Soccer Comic Rant, and Lee Hudson. And we're going to go over the matches from this weekend, match week. What was this, match week 13? Or 14? You lose
14.
14. So we're going to talk about match week 14. Then we're also going to talk about match week 15, which is coming up midweek, and match week 16, which is coming up this weekend. So it's like they think it's Christmas games already. This is like a pre-Christmas game run in the beginning of December. Listen, some ligaments are going to go. Thank God we had all our injuries, most of them already. But we're going to talk about Southampton, the championship. We're going to talk about Terry Venables. We're going to talk about Manchester United defending for its life against an on-fire Newcastle, and we're gonna discuss which match was the best game of the weekend. Was it Liverpool versus Fulham? Was it Tottenham versus City? It definitely wasn't United versus Newcastle. Or was it, what was the other match that I
Chelsea
mentioned?
Brighton.
Chelsea, Brighton, yes, thanks. Good looking out. Was that the best match of the weekend? So we'll discuss that. And yeah, we'll just keep it moving. So where should we go first?
I mean,
And so let me introduce Lee Hudson, stand-up comic and Southampton fan. You can see his decorated jersey in the background. What up, fam?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with those games, I think there was a lot of high scoring games, but I think the City Spurs game was probably the most controversial.
Mm-hmm. For one moment at the end,
Yeah.
for one crucial moment at the end. But it was a great game. And what would you trade? Just Man City whooping Spurs ass, just straight up, like beating them by 5 all those times they hit the post or came close, or would you prefer the game that it was, like that the excitement of the game that it was?
Nah, I'd rather have City just smashing them.
Same, same here. Because here's the thing: Martin came over on Saturday to watch the United game, right? So he came over, and you know, he's pure bad luck. We lost, and I don't even blame it on him. We're just so bad that I did not expect to win up there. I was just hoping we could get a point, but he clearly said to me, "I'm not coming back to watch the Spurs game," because he felt they were going to lose. And if he did, like I was going to make it worse, which is my job. And so he's like, he's just going to sit this one out. So then we wanted him to lose, Spurs to lose, so we could clown him. And they put up an epic defense at Man City with a lot of key injuries and the media doubting that Postecoglou should play a high line at Man City, the treble winners. But, you know, he should play a high line because his team, even the new players that are filling in for the injured players, they have to learn how to play his system. You can't just change your system, you know, just because it's Man City and you have some injuries. Like at some point, you want to get these players up to par with the starters so that you can rely on them, and they did. Like Son was so good, he scored both goals, one for City and one for Spurs, and but it was a pretty incredible game. What's your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, just I mean, I think City, they had the chances to take it, but every time Spurs had an opportunity, they were clinical. Um, I don't know what happened on the first goal for Spurs with Doku, because normally he is rapid, he is so quick, and then all of a sudden, when he had to try and defend quick, it was like he was running with cement shoes on. Like I was like, what are you doing? Like,
Like
I'm
I
like,
know
just
Son is fast, but is he
yeah,
fast enough to make Doku look slow? That's
yeah.
another level of speed.
Yeah, I swear, like Doku just wasn't expecting the ball to pop out there or something because he was just caught
Mm-hmm.
flat-footed, and I was just like, "You're quick. What are you doing? Like, you're not meant to get done like this. This is,
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah. He's obviously not as good going backwards as he is going forwards because,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Son just roasted him, and then great finish as well from Son. Um, he was clinical. He took his chance. The same with them overall. Like I say, Lo Celso's goal was a great finish as well. Kulusevski, I mean, he got up and he had just had that desire to get his head on the ball um, for the third Spurs goal. So yeah, obviously there was a Son own goal. Foden got his goal. Grealish got his goal. Haaland with that big miss when the ball came across. When he sort of just tried to sweep it into the far corner and put it the other side of the post, I thought that was. And everyone, it sounded like everyone in the stadium thought that was a goal as well. Like everyone was cheering after it left his foot. That was pretty crazy. But I mean, that's what City get for not being clinical. They both. Just looking at the stats, both of them had 4 shots on target, but City had 17 shots overall to Spurs' 8. So it's City being wasteful, Spurs being clinical. But possession was interesting. 55-45 to City. Like not many people run it that
Mm-hmm.
close to City on possession as well. Like most teams, like you say, will sit in and try and counter City, but Spurs decided to play their normal way. Um, and as much as I love to hate on Spurs, I do begrudgingly respect what Ange's doing there. So yeah, I mean, gutsy display from Spurs. They kept going till the end. I thought, the decision at the end is a joke. I can understand why City players lost their shit. I can understand why Haaland is still out on that pitch right now trying to argue it because that was just wild.
Yeah, it- I guess I'll start with the decision at the end. I feel like the referee got caught like some forwards do. It's like, should I, like when you're about to shoot, but then you cross, or when you're about to cross, but then you shoot, and then it ends up messing up. So I felt like he waited, Haaland got up, and then when Haaland made the pass, he didn't think Grealish could get to that ball. I think he saw those 3 City defenders, not to make an excuse for the ref, and like blew. Come to find out, not only could Grealish get to it, he had a one-on-one, and by the time the
Hmm.
referee shot cross, blew the whistle, he blew it, and he can't take it back. And he messed up at a very crucial moment in the game. I did like Haaland's passion. Like sometimes I feel like Haaland is a mercenary, but he's really into City. Like
Yeah.
he's like really down for his team. So I like to see that, because I feel like everybody in the world knows he's not going to be there for his full career, and he's going either Real Madrid or Barcelona. But while he's there, he's fully committed. So if you're a City fan, you have a committed Haaland who's passionate after the game. After the game, he's trying to win the game. He's tweeting, he's calling up the PGMOL and complaining. He's doing everything that he can. It was an amazing game. I do wish Spurs had lost, but the tie is pretty good. And my question is City has dropped a lot of points early.
Hmm.
So are they going to get it together this season, or is this just they need to feel like the season to go on more for them to take this season seriously?
I think yeah, I think they'll still. I mean, if I had to, bet on it right now, I'd still bet on them winning the league.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it last year with the way they reeled Arsenal in towards the end of the season. They're one of those teams who they peak at the right time. When it comes to that sort of business end of the season, that's when they really come alive. Like they're consistent most of the time throughout the season, but those last couple of months, especially, they'll just grind those results out and get them. But there is the added complication for them this year that they're not just hunting down and battling with one team up there like they were with Arsenal. They got Liverpool in the mix as well.
Exactly.
So the more teams that are in that mix, I think the better it is for us as fans who don't support one of those teams, because
Mhm.
we get to watch a proper battle, hopefully. I mean, the more teams that are in that battle and the longer that battle goes on, the better it is for the league, in my opinion. Rather than just seeing City win it by 10 points at the end of the season or something. The longer Liverpool and Arsenal are up there, the better.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, because I'm not going to be able to rely on Manchester United to supply me with the thrills of the season. And it's like, and let me tell you, Man United fans, like, there's a lot of people hurt, brokenhearted, and in sorrow for the results versus you Newcastle. Listen, y'all, get yourself a side piece team, or just enjoy football to the point where you can enjoy watching other teams play football beautifully, or sign up to the Manchester United website and go into the vault and watch the glory days, because it ain't gonna
Take it back
happen
to
on
the
a weekly.
90s.
Take it back to relive the 90s, bro. They have 90s music stations, and we all, like, we'll play the 90s music for a while in the car. You At Christmas time, you play Christmas music. You can listen to 80s music. Why not relive Manchester United's 90s? You can watch the treble again, bro. You can relive that season, because this season, bro, if you want heartbreak and pain, you know what I mean? You should only be into this season if you just broke up with your girlfriend or your boyfriend, and you need something to help you, make you feel bad. Like, there's something good about
Yeah,
feeling even
you want to
worse.
wallow in it.
Yes, if you want to wallow in football, only watch Man United, the 2023 team, because that's all you're gonna do is wallow.
I can't remember if I mentioned before. I saw United in the treble winning season. I saw them live.
I'll get out of here.
In one game. It was the most random of games as well. I watched United away at Villa. I was in the Villa end at Villa Park in that season. It finished 1-1 that game as well.
Well, how come you were at a Villa game?
My dad had a friend who was like a season ticket holder at Villa, who couldn't use him and his son's ticket that day, and he knew that I was a football fan, and he just offered my dad the tickets because he knew I love football. Because I was young, I was 14 then, and he's like, "Oh, do you guys want this this tickets for this week?" And we were like, "Yeah, we'll take it."
Hell yeah.
So yeah, went up to Birmingham, watched that game. Like I said, I got to watch one of the best teams in football history at that time. And I was saying the other week when John was on, I got to watch United Barca in that Champions League final in 2011 as well. That Barca team, one of the greatest teams around as well. I've been lucky enough to see some of history's best teams. Which
Where did you see that Barca play? You went to the final at Wembley,
the
or where
one
did you
at
see?
the one at
That's
Wembley. Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, that's pretty crazy, bro. Super impressive. Your attendance resume, your football attendance resume is off the chain. It's to be desired. You should post that somewhere. It's almost like a resume. Like there should be competitions where people post their football attendance resumes. Like, what have you seen? What have you seen? Who have you
I mean,
seen?
I've seen some of the worst football imaginable as well. So it's everything's in balance. I remember when Southampton went down to League One. I watched some bad football then. I've done some scouting in League Two and lower as well, and I've sat through some games where I'm like, I can't even write a report on this. It was just bad. So yeah, I've been to the lowest steps, and I've been to the highest highs in football in terms of
Then
what I've
again,
watched live.
you're almost like, when you go see these other games, like when you go see Barcelona at Wembley in the Champions League final, or when you go to Villa and you see one of the greatest Manchester United teams play, you're doing what I'm encouraging Man United fans of this season to do now. Go wander. This is an open relationship. Go see some other people. You don't have to commit to them. Man United is your team, but this marriage is on the rocks right now, and you want to you believe in love, but you might have to outsource that shit until we get our shit together.
Yeah, I mean everyone's going poly and ENM now.
Yes,
Like
there you go.
football fans need to embrace it.
Yeah, you go be a polyamorous Man United fan.
Yeah, go ENF, go ethical non-fanship or whatever. I don't know what you want to call it. It's ethical
Yeah, what
non-supporting.
ethical non-supporting? That's hilarious. What is that other term? Be non-binary, bro. Be a non-binary United supporter. You know, and there's another term I can't think of it, but just for your own health. Which of the games that I would mention earlier was it Liverpool, Fulham, Chelsea, Brighton
Brighton.
Hove, or City versus Spurs? Do you think was the best? And if you didn't see one of the games, which game did you wish you'd watch based on highlights or what you heard about them after?
I mean, I watched Chelsea Brighton, and I've only
Mm-hmm.
seen the goals from Liverpool Fulham, and I watched City Spurs. But I mean, Liverpool Fulham, I've only seen the goals, but the Liverpool goals were bangers. Every single one of them was a banger. Um, they were just like I can't remember a game where someone scored four and all four goals were that good. Um,
Worldies.
yeah, like the Trent free kick was unreal.
Mm-hmm.
McAllister's goal where he just hit it as it came across him and like swiped it into the far corner was crazy. You had the Endo goal where he just opened up and um, side foot it across into the far corner, and then Trent popping up again with the winner on the half volley, I think it was, as well. And I mean, in response, I mean, most of the Fulham goals were a little bit scrappy, but they'll take them whichever way they come. You could tell Liverpool didn't have Alisson in this game. That's why it was a
Yeah,
4-3
yeah.
rather than a 4-1 or a 4-0. They miss him big time. But yeah, I mean, yeah, those Liverpool goals they were fun to watch.
Yeah, because I forgot what game I was watching. What game was on at the same time? Was it the Chelsea? I think it might have been the Chelsea versus Brighton Hove game on at the same time. I forgot. I was watching whatever game was on at the same time, or maybe it was the Arsenal game, and I was like, I don't want to. I watched the pre-game show on that channel, so I didn't want to switch because they was playing
Yeah.
all these games at the same time. So I was like, I'll just watch Arsenal. It should be. I said Liverpool should be able to dismantle and run through Fulham. This shouldn't be much of a challenge. So I saw the Chelsea game. It was an exciting game, but I do wish I'd saw, based on the highlights afterwards, that I'd saw the Liverpool versus Fulham game, because Fulham brought it to them. Especially one of the things that disinterested me in wanting to watch it is that they were playing at Liverpool. I said, no way. Fulham is going to mount a challenge against Liverpool at Liverpool. And by looking at the score in the top right hand corner, I was completely wrong. I was like, I, I was like, I picked the wrong game, and I could have watched that goddamn game. But you just never know with football. But Trent's goals. I mean, what goal was better? The goal he scored to win the game, or the goal he scored that they're not going to give him and they're going to call an own goal?
I mean, I would say the winner just because, like I say, that it was technically an own goal.
Mhm.
The other one. So yeah, I'm gonna call it on the second one. But I mean, that free kick was class. The way he just whipped it
Mhm.
around and over the wall. Yeah, it's a harsh one when it doesn't get given to a player like that. But I
I know,
mean, it's
yeah,
technically the rules. It's technically the rules.
but
So
it's a bad rule. It's obviously like
yeah,
that's something they could fix easily. Like that's the shooter's goal. You know, it's not like it's not the keeper's fault. It's not the keeper's error. He's beaten. The ball comes off the post. That's the shooter's goal. Like that they should change that. I'm tired of seeing like it's a shame that a masterpiece of a goal like that, the right person doesn't get credit for it. That is just preposterous of a rule. They should change that.
Yeah, especially when the shot's that good. If it comes off the frame and goes off the keeper, as long as it's just off the frame and off the keeper immediately, I think they should give those to the players. But and then again, the keepers don't want those goals. The
Yeah,
keepers don't want those own goals against their name. So no one's benefiting from you taking it away from the player and giving it to the other way.
I feel like as a miscarriage of justice for both players. You don't give it to the person who deserves it, and you blame the person who doesn't want it. So yeah. So give it to the shooter, man. And Trent, it's so funny after this game, and like everybody's praising him. The same people who were like, drop him, and it's like, you guys, you're not allowed to praise him. You're not allowed to praise him because you were so much against him, and you turned off from him. You gave up on him, and the last, not just the last few weeks, but I know last week I think he scored 2, and he's just been on one, But maybe he's just responding to his detractors, so maybe they do help him in some aspect. But yeah, I love Trent, man. I love Trent. I love what he's doing out there. What Neil's not here to talk about is Chelsea, but I think we both watched it, and I thought Chelsea started out great, especially against Brighton Hove, and we know Brighton Hove is not an easy team to play against, and there's a lot of incest going on between both teams because both teams has each other's players playing for them against their original team on the pitch. Like Brighton Hove has what's the little Scottish kid who used to be an ex-Chelsea player, Gilmore, and Brighton Hove used to have Colwell on loan, and which put Colwell into the confidence of Chelsea for Chelsea to say, we'll keep him and we're going to start him now. And Saicedo, and just back and forth. But I thought Chelsea was gonna lose the game after the 2 fouls by Gallagher. Like I was like, all right, this is over. I put it in the text group. This is over. This is Brighton Hove. It's tough to beat them with 11 men. Now you're down to 10. There's no way Chelsea, who's exhibited like eggshell fragility like over the season, even though they had some big wins, they can't survive this. And then I feel like the referee bailed out Modric on that penal. It was not a penal, never a pen. If there's ever shoulder to shoulder, body to body, like shielding of a ball going on, it was then. And I feel like Mudryk over dribbled the ball, and he was fortunate to get that contact and went down and just prayed to his gods, whoever he worships, that the referee would give him something. And the referee didn't give him anything, but VAR was like, how could VAR look at that and give a pen? Like, we're trying to make the players play more physical, and there's been a lot of challenges like that this season that they haven't called a foul, much less a pen, and then they give that. And then Neil was like, how come they didn't give the defender a card? And especially since he was the last man, send him off. And I was like, that's how much of a penalty it wasn't. That he didn't even get a card or sent off for being the last man in the challenge, because it wasn't a fucking penalty.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't in control of the ball. He wasn't like about to pull the trigger on the shot. It had got away from him.
Mm-hmm. It's a 50-50. That defender had the right to challenge for that ball. But that goal was what, Chelsea needed, being a man down. And I feel like it bailed them out. But, some teams you need luck, and they got luck this weekend. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, I think it was great character from Chelsea, because I thought the same as well when they go down to 10 men, especially that early in the game, like just like with half a game left.
Yeah.
That's hard. Like if they'd gone down to 10 men with the last 15 minutes left, you can kind of dig in and you know you can ride that out. But against a team like Brighton, who will move the ball around and make you do the running, to come through a whole half of football, and still come out with a win is yeah, that's pretty big. Um, like you say, a bit of luck with a questionable penalty, but they showed character to grind it out and get the result they did with the 10 men. So yeah, it's a definite positive from Chelsea, even if Neil was still tearing his hair out at the fact that he couldn't just have a comfortable game as a Chelsea fan. He still had to be put through the emotional grinder. Is Yeah, it's never a dull moment as a Chelsea fan.
Yeah. But they got the win. Yeah, they got the win, and great game. Another really good game, because Brighton Hove really tried to come back at the end of the game, and I forgot the name. Is it Pedro? João Pedro scored that
Yeah.
glancing header, made it 3-2, and they had I think going up 2-0, Chelsea just kind of take their foot off the gas, and that's the danger of a young team. A lot of even mature teams do it, and Brighton Hove was like, no, it's not over. Here's one. Now what you gonna do? Now you lost a man. It's on now. But for Chelsea to hold out that long showed a lot of growth. They made the youthful mistake, and then they made the professional effort to keep the win. So that was one step back, two step forward type of a game for Chelsea. Speaking of steps back, I don't even want to talk about this, but I'm a United fan. I'm wearing the shirt. United versus Newcastle, one of the big games. Bruh. Like, listen, I didn't expect to win, but I was hoping we could leave with a point. Because Newcastle does the one thing. It's weird, man. Like, not even when Newcastle had a Spria, Ginola, and what was the name of the other guys that they had? That great team that
Shearer was
Newcastle had.
around then as well.
Shearer was around. I think Kevin
Ferdinand.
Keegan was their coach. Ferdinand. Not
Yeah.
even when they had that great team did anybody on Man United wish that was our team. But now, the way Newcastle plays, I wish we played the way they play. Like with the energy, with the courage, with the boldness, with the gusto, the way all the players, even the bench players, the players that were there before the takeover, has raised their levels and their skill levels, and they just want to go along and stay on this ride and stay with this team. And the new people that they bought, like the Livermentos and the kid that scored the goal from Everton, who's done that to us before. He's helped Everton beat us 1-0 before. Like, so it's just sad when you see another team do a basic thing like play harder than you. And you can't even make the excuse, well, United played midweek. This team went to PSG midweek and played PSG off the park. Well, it was close. PSG had a lot of the ball, but for Newcastle to go to PSG with Mbappe, and they had to get cheated by a VAR call or a referee call, and for PSG to get a point out of that, and the same guys, they didn't sub anybody in that game at PSG. It's the same dudes. So then they bring them to this game, and we showed up 10 minutes at the end of the game. We showed up. We said, oh shit, we could smash and grab a point. And then we put some energy into it. But this is, and I wonder what's going on. Like, Varane is sitting on the bench next to Ten Hag. It's like, did they fall out? There's rumors that he fell out. There's rumors that they might sell him in the winter window. Like, what is going on? And
Mm.
Ten Hag is starting to make mistakes. Like he's playing McTominay because McTominay did get us some points earlier on in the season. In the last minute, but McTominay and I know we're playing too aggressive football. We need a double pivot to stay in a double pivot and defend and help us like spring attacks. And you can't leave an 18-year-old kid and say, McTominay, go walkabout. Go try to get us to goal. Like McTominay doesn't know how to like decide when to go forward. And he definitely doesn't want to come back and get the ball from in the defense and turn around and deal with the pressure. So then we're missing a guy there, that could help us. So I know McTominay got us some points in 2 games in a row and saved Ten Hag's job, but he's not the guy. We need to play a more defensive midfield and then try to score after that. But you could just run through us. Like we attack too much, and then even our attackers, they ain't been attacking great, and we give up the ball. That's especially why you need to defend better and have a double pivot. The way like Anthony gives away the ball, the way Rashford gives away the ball and also doesn't defend as well as he can, and Garnastro this game did not defend well. Like they let those guys come down our wing and have a free reign. So that's why you definitely need like, or at least start out attacking. And then when you're watching the game, you're like, all right, that's not working out on the wings. Rashford ain't coming back on out. Let's have McTominay stay in the middle. But McTominay don't want that life. He don't want that pressure. He don't want to get the ball out the back and have to turn around under pressure and try to find people. He's more comfortable going forward and being that guy that runs into the box, and surprise the defense and get a goal. So we need somebody that can defend and also do what McTominay does, and instead of just what McTominay does is not good enough. And I feel like I'm just playing Amrabat. We could have left there 0-0 or 1-1 and play more kids. Play Pelestri, play Hannibal. Like these guys run. You're playing people who ain't running, fam.
That's like when you go and play Newcastle away, like whatever Newcastle do, the minimum that Newcastle will do is they'll bring it physically and in terms of work rate. Like that's what you're going to get when you go to Newcastle, even if they're not on it technically that day, even if the play isn't quite linking up for them, that they'll be in your face, they'll be high energy, and they're going to work hard. So the minimum you need to do when you go up there is match that, and have a bit of fight and have a bit of heart. And yeah, you didn't quite have that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, if there's one place we needed to go fight, was there. And we played good this week. Like Everton, we played good. Galatasaray, we played good, and then Onana made mistakes. And then we played in 3 cauldrons this week. And Newcastle ain't like any less of a cauldron than Galatasaray is, or Everton was after the 10-point deduction when they like it's us against the world and the game is at home for them. So we played in some cauldrons. I ain't gonna go overboard, but I shouldn't. Man United shouldn't go to Newcastle and expect them to not win. You know what I mean? No matter how good Newcastle's playing. Like we should be playing so good as United that we could still expect to win against Newcastle. But I didn't expect it. So that's where we're at. Somebody said the sound worked good last week, but we didn't talk about Arsenal. So let's talk about Arsenal. They're at the top of the table. And I forgot who they beat. They barely beat Wolves. Snatched it at the end. Now you dominated Wolves, but towards the end of the game, Arsenal, when Wolves scored that 1 goal, I was like, I became a Wolves fan. I just I did want Arsenal to like dropped 2 points. And the last end of the game was pretty exciting, but you held on. You deserved to hold on. You played pretty good football. I was entertained, and Arsenal consistently are doing their thing, and now they're at the top of the table. Are you going to hang on to this Arsenal for how long this time? How long this time? Like, listen, Man City don't look like the Man City from last year, but they always wait till later in each season to become the Man City they're going to be. And now you have problems with Liverpool is not the Liverpool from last year that allowed you to take second because of their destroyed midfield. Now they got a midfield now. So let's see. If you last season, you have to withstand pressure from one champion. Can you take the pressure from two champions? How does it feel when you got two teams breathing down your neck? Last season, you had practice with one. Good luck with two. We'll see. But Arsenal is number one. I also want to give Villa some props right quick. They're fourth. Villa, this is big for Villa fans. They're really happy. Even though this weekend they tied with Bournemouth, but they got 29 points after 14 games. This is not, I don't think this is one of those instances where somebody's near the top at the beginning of the season and let's let this play out. I think Villa last season has been consistent enough this season to know that. And I did name them in the top six at least for at the beginning of the season. Like they bought players and they got a good coach who knows this league. He's got something to prove. And the fans are fired up and the players are fired up and they have to fight for their positions. There's people that can substitute them if they don't play well and they want to play for this coach and for this team. So Villa gets the props.
Yeah, I think to be in December and they're only 1 point behind City, like that's that's some pretty good going for a team with, a fraction of the budget of City. And a team that aren't used to necessarily being up that part of the table. So for them to be up there this deep into the season, like you got to respect it.
And guess who Villa plays on Wednesday?
Man City, isn't it?
Man City. So there's so many games that would be like, all right, this team is going to win. This team is going to win. Now, at this point of the season, it's like, this is a holy shit game. Like, who's going to win this? Like, Villa, they got the same amount of wins as Man City this season. The only difference is Man City has tied one more game than Villa has tied. So they got 1 point apart and they're on a mission. And Man City just didn't beat Spurs, who had all those injuries. And now they got to face Villa, who's above Spurs, who's probably playing. Yeah, they got a better record than Spurs. They're playing better than Spurs. So this is a something to prove game. This is, so yeah, that's a game to want to watch coming up this midweek. So we got some crazy shit going on.
Well, the other big ones midweek coming up. United Chelsea.
You call that big? I feel like that's like a used to be big game.
I mean, in terms of the fact that both of you are trying to get your seasons going, kind of thing. Like whoever wins there, it kind of could, propel you up a little bit to leapfrog some places. Because, if you guys get a win, you can go up there and you could. If you win and Spurs lose, you go level with Spurs. If Chelsea win, they jump up level with Brighton.
You know what this game is? This game is. I'm trying to figure out how to term it. It's who keeps their manager longer game. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, the positions in their table aren't bad. except that they're United and Chelsea. So these positions in the table at this point of the season, fans ain't happy. Fans ain't happy. I feel like Chelsea's playing way better football than United, but their results are not as good as United. And I feel like United is playing and it should have the points that Chelsea has for the way they've been playing. And at least I see the upside in Chelsea, but Chelsea's coach, ex-Spurs fan, Spurs coach. So the Chelsea fans ain't gonna give this. They probably he could win the league one year and they probably would still never forget where they got him from. And that's the tough thing. And if you're a United coach and you're not playing at a certain level, seventh, and being outside the top four is not good enough. So this is a who's going to survive in their job the longest game. And that's what this is. What else we got this midweek coming up? That's huge.
I mean, the other games feel like a bit of a mixed bag. I would feel like Brighton Brentford will be a good game. It's like the battle of the two, like quietly well ran clubs. I think Everton Newcastle could be a good game because Everton have sort of put together some okay form recently. And Spurs West Ham is a derby on Thursday. It's a London derby, so I think that one will be quite spicy. And like we mentioned before, Villa City is can't be ignored as well.
Right. I'm rooting for West Ham on the Tottenham West Ham because it just brings them closer to us if Tottenham loses. And
yeah,
I kind of like West Ham's team. On the low key, like I was looking up whose teams cost a lot, and as far as the money spent, like West Ham's spend is in the top 10 in professional football.
Yeah,
and I didn't know that.
The net spend will be a bit lower because of the Rice sale. I mean, that funded quite a lot of their stuff, but
I only read.
Yeah, they've still splashed out.
Yeah, I only read sensational articles where they only mention Ben, not the ones where they minus and make it net. Those don't sell. Those don't interest me.
Got to go for those headlines, but no, yeah, I'm rooting for them as well, just because Ward-Prowse is there. He's I'm following. Given that we're not in the league anymore, I'm following players rather than teams.
Hilarious. Like Ward-Prowse is Southampton in the league, in the Premier League to you.
That's it. Yeah, he's our representative.
Yeah.
And whoever else is on my fantasy team is who I'm rooting for.
Hilarious. And then do we go to this weekend and just talk about it? So we have to go through the midweek games and then talk about what I'm just looking at the weekend games. We play Bournemouth and Arsenal.
I feel for Villa. They got this is the week where they find out if they deserve to be up that end of the table permanently or not. If they can come through this unscathed, then credit to them, because I mean, back to back City and Arsenal. I think they're at home for both of them though. So there is that working in their favour, and I think they're a really strong side at Villa Park especially. So yeah, that's an interesting couple of games for them to navigate. But Emery's smart. He's tactically smart. I feel like he isn't the sort of manager that will sort of get rolled over in these games. Not very often, anyway. He'll have a game plan, and even if they lose, I don't think it will be like an embarrassing loss. So yeah, I'm intrigued by both their games, and just to see how they get on, because I think it will be a real test for them of, like I say, how far away they are from that group in real terms. Like right now, they're 1 point away from City, but the gap on the field might look different, but or it might not, or it might be super close. Well, these are the games we'll find out.
It's funny because I'm talking to Lloyd and he's like, we're fourth, and I know how big this is for him. And it's not the type of fourth, like I said, where you dismiss it because it's early in the season, but you really can't dismiss it if they're still fourth after these two games. You really have to like respect this fourth and put some respect on this fourth and like take them seriously from now on. So yeah, we'll see.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I didn't.
like I said, just the fact that they're there in December is big anyway, even before these two games. But yeah, I mean, if they're still there after these two games, then yeah, real deal.
Yeah. Another big game this weekend is Tottenham Newcastle. Like two teams that play balls to the walls football. That should be entertaining. They're not gonna change up and to win. They're just gonna go at each other. Like Angie's gonna do what Angie's do, and Eddie Howe is gonna do what Newcastle does. So we'll see. I don't know who Newcastle and Tottenham play midweek to see if that could. Well, Tottenham got that derby,
Yeah,
and Newcastle got Everton, so they both got energy.
yeah.
Like Newcastle, Everton playing Newcastle is probably more draining at Newcastle than Tottenham playing West Ham at West Ham. So maybe the ease of West Ham, which should be a little easier than Everton, than Newcastle playing Everton. But we'll see. We'll see, man. Newcastle has that kid. Like I thought we had a kid,
Miley.
but
yeah,
Newcastle got a kid. It's a lot of English kids, man, out there balling.
And like I said, after the PSG game, it's nice to see Livramento getting a run in the team and proving his worth as well. Because when he went there, I wasn't sure how many minutes he was going to get, and he didn't play that much at the start of the season when all the players were fit. But he's getting his chance right now, and he's taking it. He might keep his place in the team even when people are back from injury because he's balling out at the moment.
I'm trying to think
he's
who's
playing
he
well in that left
replacing
back
up
role.
there. Yeah,
I think Byrne is the player who.
Oh yeah.
Who's
who's
replacing
good
on the left. Yeah, Byrne. Yeah, he's one of their best players of the season. So yeah, he's definitely making the most of the run in the team. And again, he's another ex-Southampton player, so I'm rooting for him as an individual. Yeah, I mean, just have a look at these games as well. Like we were saying about Villa have that tough run of City and Arsenal. Luton have the same games, just in reverse.
Oh shit!
They play Arsenal, then they play City. So I mean, for a promoted team, that's horrible to have to go through that as well.
That's what that's what it's like up here. It's not a game
life,
in the
yeah,
Prem round.
life is tough down there. Right now, they're outside the relegation zone as well. They're doing the best out of the three promoted teams. They're outside the relegation zone thanks to the Everton points deduction. So they're going to want to stay out of there. But I mean, after those two games, good luck.
Exactly. Like after those two games, they might be right back down there, and Everton might get out of it.
Their manager needs to
like,
be calling up Unai Emery and being like, "Do you want to trade after these games? Do you want to trade notes?" Because they're both playing Villa and City back to back. Arsenal and City back to back. Yeah,
you should play them and scout them for the other team. Yeah, that's pretty fucking interesting. Yeah. We didn't talk about this last week. I think it happened before last weekend, but they had a lot of tributes to Terry Venables. And like I don't remember him as much as I should, just because when I left England, I was in Jamaica. We wasn't getting that much football then, So I know he was the coach of England in the Euros when they made it to the semifinals. We got knocked out against Germany. Was that on penalties? Was it on Southgate? Yeah, but everybody seemed to like him. I like the fact that he lived to 80. He also coached for Barcelona, and that's big for and he played good football, right? Like,
yeah, he was one of the more
players.
progressive coaches in English football at that time because there was still a lot of old school people around in that era, but he was sort of one of the the forefront of the more sort of entertaining, attacking football. Passing football rather than just it being in the air the whole time. And yeah, I mean, he was England manager in Euro '96, which was that was the first tournament that I remember really getting caught up in as a
Mm.
young fan, because there was the USA '94 tournament, which no one really cared about because England didn't make it. We didn't even qualify for that one. So I was 9 years old in the World Cup '94.
Damn.
And then, yeah, when '96 rolled around, I was a little bit older. And I just remember that one more vividly. And because it was in England as well, the tournament was here. So everyone got kind of swept up in it. That was the first tournament where the song, the Football's Coming Home song, was released as well. So just the whole atmosphere and the good vibes around the whole country, and just that whole tournament. The whole tournament was full of memorable moments. But the England team, which Venables, was the leader of, yeah, just really got everyone on board, kind of thing. It was a nice atmosphere to be a part of, and like you say, he did things which other English managers didn't really do. Bobby Robson was the other English manager who managed Barca as well, so he's in good company
Mm.
there
Did
in terms of
Venables ever
managers
win
that
a
have.
title with Barcelona? I forgot to look it up.
He won when Venables went there. They hadn't won a league title in 11 years.
Oh
And
shit.
he won them their first title in 11 years. He almost won them their first ever Champions League, or it was the European Cup back then. He almost
Mhm.
won them their first ever European Cup as well. He got to the final and they lost to Steaua Bucharest. So he came so close to making history at Barca. Um, so yeah, he was always revered there, because he kind of went without a massive rep to
Mhm.
Barcelona. Like I say, they were in a tough moment. They hadn't won the title in 11 years, and he went in there with people sort of being like, "Who is this? Who's this Englishman coming over here? He hasn't really got much." I think he was 41 when he went in there, which is young um, for a manager. And yeah, he won the league. So um, the players respected him after that, and the football he played, the fans respected him. Um, I read a lot of sort of articles and interviews last week about that, and yeah, it just sounded like he was held in huge regard out there, which isn't easy to do because they're one of the hardest fan bases
Yeah.
to win over. They're very very demanding. So especially coming in as an outsider, as an Englishman, where English managers haven't really done that much outside of England throughout
Mhm.
sort of football history. So yeah, for him to go and do that was big, and um, yeah, just one of the best managers that we've produced in this country for sure.
Yeah. Shout out to Terry Venables, man. You did your thing. And one love, baby. Thank you. Appreciate
Mm.
what you did for English football period. Uh don't want to talk about the Euros, but like the draw. But before we do the draw, talk about the draw, just want to give a shout out to LAFC. They made it.
Mm.
They've won the conference finals against Houston, and now they're in the finals, the MLS finals versus Columbus. You was telling me
Yeah.
earlier, and that's this weekend. So I'm all on board. I'm back in the LAFC. I've been to a bunch of their games. I went there to see Messi play Miami this year or this season, and it's just so funny that the MLS Finals is going on. It's so quiet because Messi and Inter Miami is not involved. Like if they were involved, I'd hear way more about it. Like
Yeah.
I had to just accidentally like stumble across it. Like MLS has become a little muted. When you like mute somebody on Instagram, it's almost as if it's become muted since Messi is out of it, the running. But you were saying earlier that you've been to an MLS final. Speaking of games that you've been to, you said you've been to
Yeah.
an MLS final. Which one was it?
It was when I was living in Toronto. It was Toronto versus Seattle Sounders.
Mm.
Um, and I was there. It was in Toronto. So the final, that's the thing. The MLS final is crazy because it just gets played at whichever team, because obviously it's the East, it's the winner of the East versus the West. and it's played at the stadium of the team that had the best record in the regular season, and Toronto had the best record, so the game had to be played in Toronto in like early December. I think it was early December or late November. It was. Let me have a look. MLS final 2016. It was. Yeah, 11th of December, 2016. Now, I mean, you've been to Toronto before. The 11th of December in Toronto is not
It ain't
nice.
summertime.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like with like finals, you kind of associate them with like, sunny weather kind of thing. Like finals are normally played in that sort of backdrop, but this was not. This was the stadium as well. Like it's BMO Field. I don't know if it's still called that, but it's right by the lake in Toronto as well, and it's like an open stadium. It hasn't got sort of it's not like an enclosed bowl like some modern stadiums. It's open, so the wind just whips up off the lake. And I've never been colder at a football game in my life than I was at that one. Um, I had so many layers on. I just coached a game as well that day, that evening in Toronto, and I was with a car full of other coaches, um, just trying to fight our way through traffic in the city to get down to the game. And yeah, it was crazy. We coached a youth game up in the north of Toronto, battled our way to the game. One of the guys who I was in the car with, he's now on the staff at Toronto FC.
Oh,
So
wow.
he's gone full circle from watching a final to now being on the staff there. But it's yeah, it was crazy. And the game was terrible. The game was awful once we got there. Finished 0-0. It went to penalties, and yeah, Seattle took it on penalties. It was heartbreaking to watch Toronto lose at home in a final, because yeah, I arrived in Toronto a few months before that, just as the playoffs were starting, and that team was really fun to watch. They had Sebastian Giovinco, the Italian, there. He was running things. Josie Altidore up front. He was just like a real focal point for the team as well. And they were great fun to watch. And yeah, it was so close but so far. And then the next season, it was the same final again. 2017
Oh,
was
shit.
Seattle, Toronto, but in Seattle, and Toronto won. Which
So they
I was a
lost the one in
curse.
Toronto,
Yeah,
and then they won the one in Seattle.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
had left Toronto by then, so it was the same with the Raptors in the NBA as well. I, when I lived in Toronto, they got swept by the Cavs in the playoffs when LeBron was
Mhm.
there, and then I left Toronto, and then they won the chip the season after. So
Hilarious.
it's like as soon as I left Toronto, their team started winning everything.
When I know when you when you
The
when you came in my living room to watch United versus Man City, we got Man City wiped the goddamn
oh no, it's
uh,
Liverpool, wasn't it?
pitch with
It was like
us.
this, was it
Or
the seven?
Liverpool.
Was it
Listen,
7-0 that one?
we've gotten so many 7-0s. I forgot exactly who did it to us, but it's just definitely one of our arch enemies. It's either Man
Oh.
City or Liverpool. And yeah, you were there, and I was you are bad luck, bro. 100%.
Yeah, as soon as I left, like I say, they started winning stuff, but the Maple
Yeah.
Leafs still sucked at hockey even after I left. So I couldn't. No, I wasn't the curse for them. They're just bad.
Yeah, you didn't go to any hockey games. I think the clue to the curse is you can't be a fan of the team or the sport, and they'll be all right. Bad
You say
luck, Lee.
you've seen a final in LA
Yeah,
before?
and I'm trying to figure it out. It was definitely a Galaxy game, and Beckham was on the team, and it was thank God the the Galaxy had the winning record, so we didn't have to play it in the league, so they didn't have to play the game in somewhere cold in the East. So it was at the
So was it down at Carson?
it was in Carson, right? But I can't remember what year that was, because it says that the Galaxy have won 5 MLS Cups,
Hmm.
and the MLS Cup is the actual, because they have the I don't want to they have the Open Cup, and they have the Supporters Shield.
Yeah,
So the MLS Cup is the main thing, right?
yeah,
Is the league. But I
yeah.
can't remember what year. Let me go back to. If I go back to the one before this, just 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me see.
You have a
It's
look. I've got
probably
a
the
list of
most recent
MLS
one.
Cup finals here.
It's the way they write it out here online. It doesn't make it easy to like call it. And I just watched the Beckham documentary. So they won it in the documentary, but I was there at Carson, me and Martin. Martin got me into the game. We had some good seats, and it was good to see Beckham play and win a cup.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking here. Was it 2014? They beat New England Revolution 2-1.
I think that could be it.
But there wasn't any. There wasn't. That was the last one they had, and they had one. They also made the final. They beat Houston 3-1 in 2012
the
as
one,
well
yeah,
in LA. And they won it in LA in 2011 as well. So they were on a hot streak for a while.
yeah.
So 2011, 2012, or 2014. Good luck remembering which one of them it was.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it was. Like at least you remember your dates of your games and who played. I'm like everything is like a jigsaw puzzle in my head. I can't remember. Good luck sorting that out.
Well, I'm lucky. A lot of the teams I've seen in those games didn't make it there that often. So it was, yeah, LA Galaxy were just on a hot few seasons back then.
Yeah, they were. Because I remember, I feel like they went to the final the year before and then lost it. So this was going to be Beckham's last year. So I was hoping I don't want him to come to MLS and not win one. Like as a United fan, I want him to see him do good. And but he definitely won. It wasn't a great game either. That's what I remember the most. It was not that great of a game. Let me just see this Euro draw, and then we could get out of here. Euro. I have it on the computer, but I just want to rather look at it on the phone.
I can tell you about the Southampton game in the meantime if you want.
Oh yeah, yeah. There you go.
Another win.
Is this why you really hung up the jersey? Who did you beat this time?
We beat Cardiff 2-0. Adam Armstrong 2 goals in the first half.
My man.
He could have had a hat trick. We should have scored 4 or 5 in this game, but the 2-0 was enough. We got the job done. But we needed to because everyone around us or above us, should I say, keeps winning. Like Leeds won, Ipswich won. So it's yeah. I mean we're still 8 points off Ipswich in second place, which is the automatic spot. We're only 1 point behind Leeds.
Leeds
so yeah,
is second.
Third. Leicester's top
Third.
still.
Right.
We're 9 points off Leicester in top. But we've opened up a little 5 point gap between the team below us, West Brom. So we got a little buffer zone there, which is nice. So we're starting to break away with that top group. It's kind of everyone's in pairs. It seems like Leicester and Ipswich are up there as the top 2. Then there's a bit of a gap to us and Leeds, and there's a bit of a gap down to West Brom and Hull below them. So yeah, we're consistent though at the moment. 11 games unbeaten, 8 wins in that time as well. So it's yeah, we're putting some good form together. We're doing what we should be doing in the Championship, to be honest. Just that little rocky spell towards the start of the season kind of cost us. We could have been higher if it wasn't for that, but it wouldn't be a season in the Championship without some pain.
Right.
Hopefully the teams above us are going to get that pain at some point, because it's a long old season. That's what happens. But I just got my ticket today for
Don't
Boxing Day.
Don't go. Give somebody the ticket, Lee. Don't go. You just told us how much bad luck you are, and you bought another ticket, bro.
I've been to 3 games this season, and I've had 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. So my record is neutral this season. I've had everything.
Switzerland.
yeah, we play Swansea on Boxing Day. So I've got some family that live down near there as well. So I'll make a day of it. I'll go see some family, and then I'll have an excuse to bounce in the afternoon to go watch the football.
Hilarious.
Because no one wants to spend a full day with family. That's how I best enjoy my family is in sort of limited blocks, and then be like,
Short
okay,
spurts.
I've got something to go do now. So, although my brother might come to the football with me, he comes to some games. So yeah, we'll hopefully have some Christmas cheer.
Is he older or younger, your brother?
2 years younger.
2 years younger. Is he did he used to play too? Or
Yeah,
is he
yeah,
into football as much as yeah? Oh yeah.
yeah. We played because we were so close in age. We
Mm-hmm.
just got put on the same team for a little while because it was easier for my mum to just take us to the same game. Um, so we did it like that.
That's pretty funny.
And yeah, we were on the same team for a little while. And then I didn't like the way it was going on that team, so I ended up leaving and joining another team, and then playing
Mm-hmm.
against my brother's team. And like
Oh,
one
how'd that
parent
go?
would take us to each game. Oh, my team won. And my brother cried that game as well. So we were like 12, I think, back
Is he
then.
a forward or what position did he play?
He was like a midfield,
Midfield.
sort of centre midfielder, or you could play on the wing kind of thing. It was positions were kind of fluid at that age, but I was a keeper, so I was in goal the whole time.
So that's pretty cool. I guess we'll talk about the Euros a little bit and then get out of here. Like
Yeah,
and we
sounds
won't
good.
talk about it long because all the groups haven't been completely formed yet. Like three of the groups are waiting for, I
Still
guess,
got
playoffs.
Yeah, got to wait for the playoffs.
Yeah, wait for playoffs. But just just the raw eye test. Group A, I feel like that's the group of death. It's
Oh
got
no,
Germany, Scotland, Hungary, Switzerland. Hungary has been doing great in tournaments, the last two tournaments. Scotland has beaten Spain, and they've got some really good tournament wins. And so I feel like they're more dangerous than you would associate Scotland with being. Germany, just because of the reputation of Germany. And Switzerland knocked France out of the last Euros. So I feel like this is a maybe not the group of death, but at least one of the most difficult groups for all the teams involved. Because Germany's
yeah,
form ain't that great; they could lose to any one of these teams. Hungary might come
yeah,
out. I've seen Hungary beat Germany, I think, in the Euros or in the World Cup recently. So I feel like this is tough.
yeah. Like you've got, because Germany historically, absolute monster of a team, but like you say, they're playing below their historic levels,
Mm-hmm.
whereas the other nations, Scotland, Hungary, and Switzerland, are kind of playing above their historic levels, kind of thing. So everyone should meet, kind of thing. Like, yeah, I think it'll be an ultra competitive group. Yeah, I agree. Actually, yeah,
Yeah.
it's yeah, it just depends who turns up because some of those teams equally have, like Scotland, have the ability to potentially go into that group and just lose every game as well. But it depends. Like if all their big players are fit, if McTominay's fit, if Robertson's
Mm-hmm.
fit, if the main man Shea Adams is fit, then
It's hilarious. The main man on the bench, Shea Adams.
but no, like yeah, they got a good team. There's a lot of players there. Like their midfield is stronger than some people think. With McTominay, McGinn, Gilmore
Yeah.
in there as well. Solid Premier League players. Tierney as well at the back. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that group pans out for sure.
Yeah. And then Group B, it's kind of a difficult group too because you have some
Mhm.
some powers in there.
Yeah,
It's like teams that have football names: Spain, Croatia, Italy. Now Albania's in there. You got to have somebody in the group that all the teams that I named before Albania could beat up on, and so it's going to be Albania. But for Spain, Croatia, and Italy, this is not going to be a joke. And those three teams, they've been kind of like, even though they've qualified, they've been kind of up and down in their qualifying groups, especially Italy. They were in a group with England. I think they lost
Mm.
twice to us. And then Croatia, they've historically, they've done good in World Cups and in tournaments, and in Spain is Spain. So yeah.
No, that's it. Yeah, I mean, they're all three teams like we talk about, um, historic teams again. They've all been in finals in recent memory, um, as well. So yeah, that's just a tough group. Um, and yeah, maybe some of those teams are past their best in terms of their glories, a little bit similar to Germany. Maybe not quite as
Mm-hmm.
bad as Germany because um, Croatia have shown up. Spain have got a new crop of players coming through as well. Got a lot of young talent coming through. So yeah, it'd be interesting. Albania, I feel from a little bit, but there's no pressure on them. They haven't been at a tournament. I'm not sure when the last time they were in a tournament was. Um, so they kind of get to go there and enjoy it, enjoy the occasion, play against three, top nations. Their players get to enjoy that experience. The fans get to enjoy that experience without any pressure. It's just a case of let's go and see who they can upset. See if they can get a result that will go down in history for them, that their fans will always remember. Because yeah, there's no pressure on them against these three teams.
Yeah. So we'll see about that. In the other group, I don't know if this is I guess this is not a dangerous group for England, but Slovenia, Denmark, Serbia, and England. I guess this is almost. I feel like England's group to qualify for this group was more difficult than this actual group. Not to disrespect the teams in this group, but Denmark could be difficult, but we should be able to beat Denmark. We got quality everywhere. Serbia, I guess, has some players. I just have to see the team's layout. I haven't watched enough Serbian qualification
Mm.
game. And Slovenia, I'm sure some of the players I think that play for Serbia actually play for Slovenia. So I haven't seen their layout. It's just one of those things where you're like, oh yeah, he's Slovenian. Oh yeah, he's Serbian. Oh yeah, he's so you're like, oh shit, I didn't know they had that guy. But unless these teams are gonna like create their title, their European tournament history in this tournament, like England and Denmark should get out of this group. But it could be England and one of the S teams. Don't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, I think England should be the strongest team in this group, but the other
Mm-hmm.
teams are potential banana skin teams if they show up. Like Denmark have got
Yeah.
game winners in that lineup,
Mm-hmm.
and Serbia have got firepower. Like I know he's playing in Saudi Arabia now, but Mitrovic is
Mm-hmm.
capable of causing problems. They got Vlahovic, the Juventus forward, as
Yeah.
well.
And this is
So
Serbia.
yeah, they got goals in that team.
Yeah,
There's
they got goals in that team.
Luka Jovic as well, who's a good forward. They got Tadic,
Yeah.
who
Oh
is a bit of a
shit.
veteran now, but he can still ball.
Mm-hmm.
They got Sergej Milinkovic Savic, who was highly rated at Lazio, but then decided to go to Saudi as well. So yeah, they got some interesting players at the top end of the pitch. I don't know too much about their the back line, the further back you go in that team. But they've definitely got some talent available, for sure. So yeah, that'll be an interesting one. Slovenia is probably the team in the group that I know the least about. I'm just having a little look of their players. I mean, they've got the Atletico Madrid goalkeeper, Oblak. He's in goal for them. So
For Slovenia,
yeah.
or is
So
it
the
still
last
on?
lot,
Okay.
yeah, no, for Slovenia. So the last line of defense is at least really strong. Some of the other players I recognize some of their names are sort of playing around sort of mid-level clubs
Mm-hmm.
in Europe, but there's no one really sort of that's at the same level as Oblak in terms of the club they're at. So um, yeah, be an interesting one as well.
And I'm only going to talk about Group D because I'm confused about something. So Group D is not complete. There's only 3
Mhm.
teams in it. But the thing that confuses me about Group D is I could have sworn that during the qualifying, group that France and Netherlands were in the same group and played each other a bunch of times. So how did they end up in the same group in the beginning of the tournament? Am I wrong? Did I not see Netherlands and France play and enjoy those qualifying matches, and now they end up after all that in the? Uh, and how does that happen?
Yeah. Well, it's because it's a random draw. You can't play a team that you played in the qualifying round. But yeah, they played them in their group,
Yeah, that's what I
and
thought.
yeah, now they got them again. So I mean, one of those games France won 4-0,
Yeah,
and the other one France won 2-1. So Netherlands need to come back.
I think it's a
It,
disadvantage for France. Like it's like now Netherlands might figure out from those losses how to beat them. So it's like, plus your odds of beating a team, the more you play them, go down, not up. So I think Netherlands has the advantage here.
yeah, it'd be interesting to see how those two pan out in that group because they're two really strong teams at the moment.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the Euros, y'all. So yeah, another fun episode with sound improvement and shit. What's up? Like, let us know what's up. And yeah, we did talk about Arsenal. We didn't get to really discuss the bottom of the table, but we'll talk about how the table is shaping up next podcast after 2 rounds of games in between. So, anything you want to plug or talk about?
No, just Lee Hudson Comedy on Instagram. Give me a follow on there. I've still got a bunch of shows coming up this side of Christmas. Got some stuff confirmed for after Christmas already. It all goes up on the socials. So yeah, I'm all over the country. I'll be leaving the country again at some point next year.
Oh yeah.
Going around Europe. Going to try and come back across to the US at some point. Not sure where yet. So yeah, I'll be around.
That's what's up, traveling Lee. And I'll be mostly in LA. I might be in New York for 1 minute, but it's not for really shows. But yeah, follow me at Ian Edwards Comic on Instagram. Follow the Soccer Comic Rant on Instagram. We'll put clips from the podcast up there. And if you watch on YouTube, like and subscribe. And if you listen on Spotify, on iTunes, and Omni Studio, like leave a rating and some stars. You know what I'm saying? But thank you all for watching and listening again. Let us know how you feel about the sound, and also let us know which game did you wish you watched this weekend. And let's enjoy these midweek games. I'm a United fan, so that's pretty far-fetched. But it should be 2 former used to be winners, Man U versus Chelsea. Should be interesting on Wednesday. All right, y'all. Peace.